Welcome to Scofield Farm. Today I want to share with you just a little bit of our planting and homestead time over the last couple weeks. It has been very busy with birthdays, Mother's Day, just end of the year school, spring stuff with soccer and dance and so much stuff going on in life. Also, we've been dealing with the last 24 hours, which is mold we found in our kitchen above our cabinets on the ceiling. So I'm going to show you kind of a torn apart kitchen, but I found that because I was gathering all of my dried peppers to make a beautiful cayenne pepper powder from our own garden peppers over the last couple of years, and a really like blast your face off hot pepper spice blend. And because I was looking way up high for some pepper bags I had tucked away like a squirrel, I found this mold. So it was a mixed blessing, kind of a stressor at a really busy time of year. As we deal with that, and I actually plant out finally my shishito peppers and all of my other peppers. I have not planted peppers or eggplant yet, or basil, except in my kitchen herb garden. I'm gonna let you see a little bit of the work days of slowly getting the tomatoes out, working some with our bees, which we're even further than the footage I'm going to show you, but just give you a little sneak peek of the little family Scofield farm. It's a beautiful night in the garden. It's like golden hour, mosquito hour as well, and I am finally getting to plant out a few of my tomatoes. It's kind of been late this year. Life happens. I'm sure it happens with you too. But I'm finally gonna get the first bed of tomatoes planted. We have a lot in our garden that's already growing. We grow food year round here in Northern California. So you'll see in the background onions and potatoes and peas and lettuce, kale, all the fun stuff, lots of flowers. But tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant, the latest I've ever done it this year. It's actually Mother's Day this weekend. And there are people here who sometimes wait that long on purpose, usually plant middle of April, and we're finally getting stuff done. We still even have a few asparagus left in the middle of this asparagus jungle. Oh my goodness. It's mostly like this right now, which is a little crazy. There's so many pretty things in this bed already. Cilantro, a cosmos, onions, alyssum. We're just gonna add tomatoes to that mix. 17 tomatoes in this, goodness, about 50 square foot bed, with a cattle panel in the middle so we can grow it vertically. We also have some pumpkins and squash coming up that will go over this arch. It's gonna be amazing. About right here, I want it to be able to trellis to that, so I think I'm gonna do it maybe right here. And then we'll put the tag in a second, and then you're gonna just put a little tiny bit of these castings in. Yeah. Just not a lot. Okay, and then you're going to squeeze this out, and then you're going to plant it, and we'll put the tag on. Of course. Okay, turn it upside down. Loosen the roots. Okay, and then you're going to push the soil down around it. Push it in, and you're going to tag it for me.
Mom?
Yeah, hold on. There we go. And then we kind of push this like this. All right. That's our start. All right, next one. You're gonna have to loosen the roots because you don't want them to get root bound at all. Okay, so you're just gonna, here, we're gonna do it right. Let's see.
And then here.
We're doing them in between. So we're gonna do it right here.
Okay.
Okay, right there. Okay, no, you can pull it back. You gotta pour a little bit of this in first, okay? I would kind of like push it a little. There you go. Okay, now pour some in. Oops. Oh, sugars.
Can I have a shovel?
Yeah, in a second.
Yeah, try to do them right in line with each other. Try to do them right in line. See, see that one's right here.
Let me help you.
So you try to do it about the same spot.
You have to loosen that. See how they go in a circle? You don't want to go in a circle. You know, put it in. Tap it.
Okay, there's. Mom, do it here?
Yeah. Oh, see, this one did not have good roots. Okay, how about you put it in and just gently.
Ah, that always happens.
That one is really small, so
Yeah.
if you enjoy this kind of content, you like learning about growing food, learning about how people homestead in California and can't do it full time, would you hit the like button? Would you possibly follow along? Because we love to have you here. We're trying to grow a community of people who are real, who actually value things like modern homesteading, but aren't able to maybe do it full time. Thanks. The opposite of my wimpy tomato starts is I bought this melon start and it's like totally root bound. So sometimes those immature ones like I had of my own take better because they're not root bound. I'm just going to make this one plant into 3. It looks like I do have one germinating right here that I direct sowed, but I was so worried about it. I just went ahead and bought some so that I could at least have some melon this year. I like melon. We did not get any cantaloupe last year, so I wanted to make sure. So I just bought some stuff and we'll see. I mean, maybe my other stuff will come up and we'll just have tons and tons. I don't know. Some of these onions are looking really good and I shouldn't have them covered down there. Right here. And then if the other ones come up, the more the merrier. It's the next day and this bed still looks pretty good. Tomatoes look safe. That is good. It looks like maybe a couple more of some sort of winter squash came up. That's good. I'm working on the next bed and just, yeah, I think I'm gonna try to squeeze maybe like 18 or so tomatoes in here, which might be crazy, but we have so many, I would like to try to give them all a chance. This is gonna be so much goodness. Very first tomato variety I fell in love with, Black Krim. It's been a few days after a long weekend full of soccer games and actually way too much wind that I needed to take a break for my allergies. Finally back at it and hard at work because that's how we garden around here. We fit growing food in little windows of time, little pockets of time where we can, because we have a large family. We have a lot going on in life, but we value growing our own food. We value raising chickens and bees. We value making our food from whole food ingredients and using as much as what we grow as we can in what our family eats, that we make time for it in the windows of time we have. And we know that a lot of little times add up to a wonderful harvest. Another thing we really like to do is interplant and succession sow, and so you'll see me planting tomatoes or peppers around plants that were from the prior season or even the current season, like the lettuce. And we will harvest and eat from our garden as we go, which will make room for things like the tomatoes as they grow. They will take the space that the lettuce was already occupying. We do the same at the end of the garden season when we plant things like garlic around the outside perimeter of things like tomatoes so that those can grow up and get established as the tomatoes start to fade and frost hit. experts. We garden and grow food year round, and so a lot of that means doing a little juggle dance with what's in the garden. We do top off the garden beds with compost or a very high quality soil from maybe a local landscape company twice a year. We put so much demand on our beds. We do have to continually give back to the soil to make sure there's plenty of nutrients for it to grow the wonderful food that we enjoy. These are a couple of my backups. I have some leeks and some spring onions I had to harvest to make room. And here's my next bed. So I have 3 beds of tomatoes planted, 1 to go. That's a huge chard root. I realized I had so much to harvest in order to make room for especially planting the peppers. Even some of the tomatoes, but especially the peppers, I had let a lot of things grow very large and we could really eat off of them. So I gave chard to the chickens over the fence. I harvested a bunch of chard to bring in for green smoothies. I took an entire bush, actually a couple out, took most of the kale out. I just needed room to plant my peppers. I always struggle with this. I always like to let something grow as long as it possibly can, but I also want to plant something else in the same space. So at some point, I've got to decide the time has come to part with this one thing so that I can enjoy something else as well. Oh my gosh, roosters. We are going out today to put our second deep on our beehives. We got new nukes in April, and then we actually have to weed back out here quite a bit, but I think they're about ready to put on the next deep so they can keep building out. And then after that, we'll do supers. We did lose our bees over the winter. We froze the frames of wax, so this should at least get these colonies a head start to get going and to be able to produce honey hopefully sooner. These bees seem really calm. This was the hive that was calm when we put them in. The nice thing about having bees before is even if something happens and you lose your bees, you actually don't lose all the work because there's all of the wax that they build. And so we froze them to kill any potential eggs of like wax moths. And then we can reuse this, which is really nice. It's really sticky, but I'm going to show you. You can see that there's even honey left on there that they can use some of that as like reorganizing their hive, and they'll actually like break stuff down and make it all nice and neat again. They can do a lot of cleanup on this. Here we go. There's wax, there's even a little bit of honey, and they will clean all that up and they will use it and it won't be wasted. All right. Like just edging this thing off a little bit. They seal it real fast with their propellants.
The down volume button will also activate the...
Okay, this one seems really crowded. Like there were so many bees on the inner cover. Again, a little bit of bird calm and a little bit of bad spacing on our part, but it also was, they were kind of feisty and we tried to get them in there quickly. So we'll clean this up and then we'll put it on, and then we're just going to close them up and not do a whole lot in there, just give them room. We will get back to the rest of our planting, but I wanted to show you a quick little peek of our beekeeping. We are starting our 4th year of beekeeping this spring, and we lost both of our hives last fall and winter for the first time. We had never actually lost a hive completely, though we once had one swarm, but some were left behind and we could establish a new queen. However, it didn't happen that way this fall and winter. There's a lot of reasons I can speculate. I think one is with my physical issues with my shoulder and my husband's knee surgery, that we just were not as on top of mite treatment with our bees. And so that's my suspicion. But we got 2 new nukes this spring, and we are already, you see, adding another brood box. But more recent than even this video, we added honey supers. Things are going so great, and I am very hopeful that we will have these colonies strong and be able to make it through this next fall winter during the timing that we lost our last ones. Okay, let's get back to the garden because I know you guys love to see the progress and how we actually are able to grow food year round and not start with a blank slate, but to keep planting and keep harvesting kind of at the same time in that little dance exchange, keeping things always starting and always ending in this garden. All right, done. like a week and a half days worth work. Oh, it looks so good. All of these were put in tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've made it this far, thank you. Leave a comment to let me know who are my watchers to the very end.